Welcome back, Alpha Hunters. Hope everybody's having a very tubular Tuesday. And hopefully you had a tubular weekend. Hopefully you did have a good weekend. We are back, baby. Nice long weekend, Monday off. And yeah, we're trading a little bit higher on the open. A little bit of a gap up there. 0.15% of a gap up there from Friday's close. So but you can see we did pull down, basically got negative there in the first roughly 20 minutes, and then kind of had a choppy little bit of a run there for a couple hours. And then here for the past hour and a half, kind of just been a little bit of a rollover currently, kind of towards the session lows here over the past 15 minutes. But that's how the day's going today, and there are some things that are moving. Even though equity's not really moving a whole lot. Q's a little bit of a bounce there on the open, quick drop, but they bounced back pretty good, even hitting session highs roughly in the past 30 minutes. So looking pretty good there on the Qs. Yeah, looking pretty good. IWM had a nice gap up here. Check this sucker out. I mean, this thing gapped up 0.75%. Yeah, about 0.75%. And basically faded there for the first hour. Got negative. Kind of just bounced around on a little bit of a rally, or a little bit of a run, not even a rally really. Then kind of roll over session lows currently right now. Yeah. IWM, a nice gap up, but it definitely got faded. DIA getting faded, not faded, but just kind of selling off throughout the day. Nice gap down here, gap down roughly 0.2%. Never got positive, kind of just tried to bounce a little bit, try to make a run. Never really even got close. Kind of just hit right into the afternoon low there on Friday. You can see on Friday, kind of just where we hit right there in the first 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, and then it just kind of hit that little low spot, and it just kind of dropped off here. It's currently down around 0.75%. RSP kind of in the same boat, down 0.75%. A little bit better start to the day, which means there's been a lot more intraday selling here on the RSP side. Though, yeah, kind of a flat open there, kind of a quick drop bounce, and then just kind of dropped off. Nice little sideways channel here for about an hour. About an hour and a half, I guess, right there. So that's kind of the way the RSP looks today. RSP, yeah, we had a pretty good drop there on Thursday. Nice little small inside day, a little bit of quite a bit of a gap up there on Friday. And then, yeah, we're just seeing, quite a bit of selling come back here for quite a bit of the stocks. It's the big tech stuff that's still kind of holding up at least the SPY and obviously the Qs, with the Qs even being positive. DIA selling off pretty good today. IWM, nice gap up. Yeah, that fade today, though. It's be curious to see what happens tomorrow. You'd think we'd be bouncing on some of those, but I know a lot of people still really bullish on big tech. I'm not really one of those per se. I'm going to ride the trend, right? You got to ride the trend wherever it is, but I really only see Nvidia just having like huge business growth. There's starting to be a couple of other semiconductor type companies, but with Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, they are spending so much capital and they're not really getting it back. So going to be interesting to see kind of what happens, going forward with tech, because they keep spending a lot of money, a lot of money. And you know what? It gives me an idea. We'll look at Alphabet here in just a second. I'll kind of show you what you definitely need to be paying attention to on their numbers. Them and Microsoft. SPY though, kind of flat. It's still kind of just in this sideways trading range. Still probably gets pushed up by the moving averages, I'd imagine. But we might also just be in a little flat top. Probably just push a little bit higher here coming soon. And then I would look for the rollover later. But other than that, not a big deal. So let's take a look at Alphabet and Microsoft real quick. I'm going to bring up their earnings numbers, their financial numbers. And really the numbers that you're looking for is on their statements, their cash flow statements. And what you're wanting to find here is cash from investing activities. Can anybody tell me when we started having big drops or huge cash spending here in you know on the operating income activities here for Alphabet? Well, that was roughly a year ago, right? When we started hearing Nvidia, started having huge growth and buying or selling their H100 AI chips and stuff like that. So that's where you're starting to see a huge amount of spend from Alphabet, and that's just Alphabet, right? So if we can take a look at Microsoft, but that's going all the way back to, all the way back to this quarter, right? All the way back to this quarter when this earnings got announced, right? And that was, if we, that was July 23, and quickly look at Nvidia. Remember, Nvidia popped off this quarter in May. That was when they kind of like, boom, we have huge amount of growth, right? We had this huge gap up, and it was a 25% update on Nvidia. And Nvidia's no sleeping, they were no small company then. They're definitely not now. But that was when, after that, we started to see Alphabet, Microsoft. Take a look at Microsoft right here, right now. That they all started having these huge statements. Oh, whoops, wrong button or wrong thing. Of a lot of spend. I don't know what Microsoft. Geez, what? So Microsoft spent a lot. This not this past quarter, but the quarter before from investing activities. I don't know what that's about. But even starting like last year, they had upped their investing activities, kind of cash spend. So yeah, you got that going on. I don't know why they actually had a positive here. That usually never happens on cash from investing activities. You never have a positive there. So that's kind of an interesting one. I wonder if there's some kind of weird accounting going on between these two quarters. That's kind of an interesting one. So that's that's kind of the things you're looking for. We can take a look at another one since Microsoft's so irregular. Let's take a look. Meta. Meta's going to be a lot easier to probably look at. Amazon's got two weird businesses that don't really synergize well together. So take out these two. Meta actually has been pretty stable. Not really a huge uptick, I guess, over the past about a year ago when Nvidia started seeing a lot of huge AI demand, but it's been steadily ramping up, right? It's been ramping up. Now, I do know why. Actually, I do know why Meta, right, has a lot of previous cash from investing activities, and this is the reason why I don't like Meta. They continue to spend billions of dollars on the metaverse, and they get nothing for it. They've done this for the past couple of years, and yeah, you can see just pull up the annual. You can see how much they spent there in 2022, and they got smoked for it, right? They got smoked for it going back a couple of years ago when they had that huge drop off back in 2022, and investors were like, "Hey, we need y'all to stop spending so much money on the metaverse," and they kind of stopped that in 22, but they've gotten back to doing it. Like they stopped very briefly, but Zuckerberg has this weird thing with the metaverse. But no, they don't get the reward for the cash spend there. So, anyways, so that's kind of what you're looking for. You kind of want to watch the cash from investing activities, and then is the growth or the spending that's going on in those cash from investing activities, are we seeing an uptick in revenue growth and margins? So that's gonna be the other thing, is like all that really is that cash from investing activities. Really, those are expenses, right? Those are just expenses that you're able to depreciate over the long term. That's why they're investing. They're expenses, but they're kind of meant to be like, oh, you're investing in the company, which is why they're labeled as investing activities, and you're able to depreciate them over a longer period of time. So you'll probably start winding up seeing the income statement grow their expenses, operating expenses, and stuff like that. So if we put on here operating expenses, you'll probably, yeah, you're starting to see, here on Meta, you're starting to see the operating expenses get back, starting to, well, decline, but I mean, increase the operating expenses, right? So that's what you're going to continue to see. So, yeah, if they don't start to probably expand margins and grow revenue faster, that's investors might have an issue with that. So we can do a little bit more of a deep dive at another time, but we'll just keep running through this. VIX, nice bounce today. Okay, VIX is bouncing a little bit. All right. Yeah, we had a pretty good drop down or gap down there on Thursday. DXY did trade yesterday. Dollar did trade yesterday, even though the stock market did not. It is a currency index. So it did drop off, but it did bounce. It is bouncing, right? We did see intraday. Ooh, yeah, we got a nice drop off this morning. We've been bouncing ever since. So looking pretty good there. Did drop yesterday, so maybe it bounces over the next few days. We'll take a little bit of time. Kind of mentioned it's going to be a choppy spot. So GLD, nice little gap up. Kind of just holding steady, up 1% on the day. All right, nothing too much going on there. This is the one, though, yields. So yields have continued to climb throughout the day. I mean, just look at this move on yields throughout the day. Oh my gosh, look at how strong this has been. Yeah, like every time I've been checking this, like it just kept climbing throughout the day. And kind of mentioned this towards the end of last week. If we get above this high that we had back on May 14th, well, we'll probably look for yields to keep pushing higher, at least on the 10-year side. And that is what is happening. So we have recently broke that high. And I would imagine we probably keep pushing higher on yields. And that is on the back of what we got in the middle of May when we got CPI data and CPI data, or CPI and PPI data, and both of those came in a little bit under, like a little bit more favorable for inflation coming down. And now we have completely reversed that. And that's not a good sign, right? Because that basically tells you now investors are making the decision on yields and bonds, and it's not just inflation. So data. So I mean, we'll see if inflation continues. Maybe it comes back and pushes yields higher. But yeah, 10-year yield bouncing pretty good today. That is a big deal. 10-2 inversion. Nice bounce back day today. We can take a look at the 2-year. 2-year, a little bit more of a drop today. Nice little lower wick there. Looks like it's bouncing right off the 10 EMA. Nice 30-year yield. Yeah, 30-year yield never broke through the lower ends of this channel. Not looking too bad. Not looking too bad here. Let me see, maybe about moving that up a little bit. Let's see, maybe about moving this up a little bit. Maybe connect in with some of that. Yeah, I think I like that a little bit more. Just connecting with those. Got a little bit of a breach there for that line. Yeah, I kind of like that a little bit. So I'll leave that there on the 30-year. But yeah, we can see we got down to the kind of lower ends there. And now we're bouncing. And we have not taken out the May 14th high here today. But I'd imagine we probably will, especially with the 10-year bouncing as much as it has. And the 2-year looks pretty strong as well. HYG, nice gap up, nice fade. Yep. Kind of makes sense as we've seen the bonds kind of rally throughout the stock trading day. So HYG, ooh, breakdowns on the LQD. So I'd imagine TLT is going to look the same. Kind of mentioned at the end of last week that we will probably see bonds go one way or the other very soon. Look at that move on the TLT. So yeah, I think you're probably going to be playing bonds bearish. Bonds has had a first half of the month rally there on May. Got to the upper ends of the channel here on the TLT. Kind of also where these lows were. And then that right now looks like a pretty good spot. Looks like the short sellers, whoever sold out right there, that was a pretty good spot to do it. That move today That's pretty telling. All right, take a look at sector rotation for the day. Energy's looking pretty good. Best performing sector on the day. Tech, yeah, we know tech's been doing pretty good today. Qs are up and the other four are not. Utilities, a little bit of outperformance there. Communications is kind of in line with the market there. Real estate underperforming, materials, discretionaries. And then at the lower end of the day, you got staples, financials, industrials, and healthcare. So we're seeing a lot of selling come from a lot of other sectors out there. Like half the sectors are just getting dog watered on today. So intraday though, intraday we got discretionaries up at the higher end, tech also, energies, utilities, and communications all outperforming, materials underperforming, real estate, staples, financials, and then at the bottom end, industrials and healthcare.